This is Flushing, a neighborhood in Queens, New York City abundant with Asian culture and a long history of diversification and gentrification, also the place where I call home. If you strolled around Flushing 20 years ago, you'd see empty expanses of land surrounding the peripheral of the neighborhood. But now, these empty lots are filled with construction sites at every single corner. Streets overflowing with a multitude of Chinese dialects are now dominated by the noise of... But before we get into that, let's go back to the 1970s and talk about where it all started. Before 1970, Flushing mostly consisted of white populations. Following the Cold War, the first wave of Asian immigrants migrated to Flushing. These initial populations consisted of well-educated, middle-class South Koreans and Taiwanese populations. During this time, Flushing was experiencing an economic turndown. Various industries, boutiques, and high-priced shops closed. Following this economic decline, Asian developers sought to revitalize the local economy. But how? Well, there was the idea of ethnic packaging. Essentially, selling an ethnic identity to cater to a specific population despite the surrounding white majority. This resulted in white flight. Seeing the rise of Asian populations take over stores that were left by white owners, white residents continued to leave the area. The second wave of gentrification and displacement in the 1990s started the luxury developments Flushing consists of today. Mainland Chinese immigrants migrated to Flushing, starting family-owned Chinese cuisines that eventually pushed out the original Korean and Taiwanese immigrant populations. Long-time rented apartments turned into condos and co-ops, and construction of new luxury developments started, attracting local and foreign investment. This resulted in the displacement of lower-class Asian immigrants. Now, Flushing is home to 72,000 citizens according to a 2010 census, where 69% of the population is Asian. Starting in 2007 was the first development of a mixed-use shopping center and office tower, Queens Crossing. That's when the noise began. And it didn't stop there. Skyview Center opened in 2010 as another mixed-use shopping center and a luxury condo. The issue of displacement was addressed by Mayor de Blasio in 2015 with the Flushing West Neighborhood Rezoning Plan to create more housing in New York City. However, this only exacerbated the problem as the housing options were not affordable, but rather luxury housing continued to be constructed. Flushing Commons in 2017, One Fulton Square in 2018, and most recently Tangram Towers in 2022 were all mixed-use developments built after. Although Flushing's representative in the City Council, Peter Koo, managed to pause Mayor de Blasio's plan in 2017, Koo agreed to advance the Flushing Riverfront Special District in 2020. This was a proposal of 1,725 luxury units, but only 90 of these were actually affordable. But why is this an issue? Today, only 33% of Flushing residents reside in rent-stabilized housing. Landlords actually use a loophole called Major Capital Improvements, or MCI, to convert rent-stabilized units to market-rate housing. Landlords withhold necessary repairs unless tenants agree to pay. These costs are passed down to tenants with rent increases that force them to move out. After they leave, landlords are able to make necessary repairs and rent the unit to wealthier tenants. Over 70% of Flushing residents are renters, and 55% pay more than 33% of their income monthly towards rent. The average median income for a family of 3 in Flushing is $57,000, half of the New York City median. It doesn't help that most of these tenants have immigrant status and language barriers that make it difficult for them to advocate for themselves. Flushing tells the endless tale of ethnic succession and the pernicious cycle of capitalistic enterprise. What Flushing needs isn't impermanent ventures, but rather sustainable living conditions under which diverse populations can